What up, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Fencer, Princess, SoundCloud, SoundClick, Aquarius, Hopkins, and all points relationships. I'm gonna name this good relationships. Yeah, I'm gonna name this relationships in America. I wanna talk about a few things. Okay, there's a new show coming out. I forgot what it's called. I'm not going to say what it's called, even if I did remember. I could look it up on the internet. But, our relationships in America are constantly changing. How we view relationships, what is socially accepted as a relationship, what's not, man, woman, man, woman. You have the Christians on one end and the liberals on the other end. And America is in a big tug of war when it comes to this because, we're legalizing marriages to same-sex marriage. Like, it's not so much a big deal to me because I'm not gay. However, when I really look at how ubiquitous it is, like it's just growing and growing and growing, and then look at who we are, like we're supposed to be the people setting the standard. Like, we're America, we're the bullies of the earth right now. We are the pretty much dominant kingdom, if you want to look at it like that. We're pretty much it. We have the most weapons, the biggest weapons between us and Russia, But nonetheless, I'm looking at us as our moral and spiritual fiber is being eaten away by our liberal intent. Like, we want to make everyone comfortable. That's what I mean by liberal intent. I don't even know if that's the right wording for it, because I'm not really, into politics anymore. I used to work for the House of Representatives a long time ago. But I don't know how to politically say that. And like I said, I'm not too much bothered by same-sex marriage in the point that they don't confront me. Nobody's knocking out my door. Hey, what do you think about this dude marrying this dude? Or if I see two dudes across the way, they live together. I don't know if they're married. I don't care. So it doesn't bother me in that sense, but it does bother some people when they see that. They're like, you're going to hell. So when I look at it, I'm like, okay, this is the way you guys want to live. There's scripture on, being lovers of your own flesh, and a man shouldn't love a man, a woman shouldn't love a woman, and there's all that. But the thing about that, when Christians, and I'm a Christian, mind you, but when Christians come at people with those scriptures, you know what? These people already know this information. I already know. You're not gonna tell somebody who's a homosexual all kind of scripture and they're suddenly gonna change their mind. It's not gonna happen. Because this is what they want to do. It's just like telling somebody who's a bank robber, hey, you shouldn't rob banks because, you're going to go to jail and it's a sin. They'll be like, dude, I'm going to do what I want to do. This is what I want to do. And like I said, we're supposed to be the moral standard. And we're not. We're not. We are not the moral standard in this world anymore. I don't know if we ever were. The American dream is being torn asunder at every direction. Yeah, you can come here to America and, yada, yada, yada. It's a lot better than a lot of places. This is so true. Don't get me wrong. America is a lot freer than a lot of places, but but now it's starting to not be so much free. You know what I mean? They want to make sexuality more free, but they're locking down on a lot of other things. But like I said, this is about relationships, and our relationship with God as a country is worth like a second look. Like, are we really in the will? Like, does God really want us to, and I'm not God. I'm a person who reads the scriptures. I'm a person who tries to follow the scriptures. I got my issues like everybody else. But like I said, the moral standard of the world, like the world looks at us and says, this is America. This is what America does. Now, they don't necessarily follow us, but they definitely look at us. Because we have the largest empire right now. We're the bullies of the world. You know what I'm saying? We taking over. If we want something, we're taking it. So people are looking at us. They're trying to come to our country. And I'm really, as an American, I was in the Army. I fought for this country. As an American, I'm just wondering, how far are we going to go without really looking at what the Lord thinks? Because we're taking God out of schools. We're taking God out of pledges of allegiance. We're taking God out of America the Beautiful. We're taking God out of anything American because we want people to feel comfortable. And it's like, you want people to feel comfortable, but you want God to feel uncomfortable. You know what I'm saying? As if this country didn't have anything to do with the blessings of the Lord. Like, we just did it on our own. And this is not talking about, slaves and whatnot. And we all know that story. But do we really think God had nothing to do with this? Do we really want to push God completely out the door? Like, Lord, thanks, but, no thanks. We're good from here on out. Because that's what we're doing. And, some people are going to come at me like, how do you know God doesn't want, and I'm sure they're going to sound like God, doesn't want, me to be with another guy, and the answer is, I only know what the scriptures read. The scriptures were not written by God. They were written by man. Okay. And I would argue they were written by Spirit. God put his spirit into those men and they wrote it down. Okay, I would argue that. But nonetheless, see what I mean? Those people know how to combat what you're going to say. But I'm like this, people, like, God is God. He is up there, we're down here, and he is the last word. I mean, when I sin, and I know I sinned, I'm like, I know God just saw me do what I did. And I know I could be out of here in 2 seconds. And I got to have that conversation with him that could either be very comfortable and welcoming or very uncomfortable. And people, hell exists. And I'm like, look, man, let's just leave out hell. Let's just leave out death itself. Let's just talk about the here and now in what we're doing. Do we really think that we can continue without God's blessing? That's really the question. See, our relationship with God is being constantly being devalued, pretty much. It's being eaten away constantly. The more liberal we think we are, the more ungodly we become. Because we want everybody to feel comfortable. We want people to do what they want to do. Let me tell you something. There are history lessons that people have, they thought that way. They did just that. They did exactly what they wanted to. And when they did, there was a lot of problems and a lot of catastrophes happened to those people, and a lot of them died. And this is historically and biblically, which is, you can look in the Bible and see it, and you can look at history and see it. They did what they want to do. They were lovers of their own flesh, and then bang. So you got, and let's make this clear. You got, people who are regular sex, just doing what they want to do. Just recently, there was this woman who was married, 60 years old, got caught screwing in a gazebo with a 47-year-old who was not her husband, but her husband, because she got put 6 months in jail for that. Cop caught her, put her 6 months in jail. I'm glad that went off. And put the dude 6 months in jail. And the husband showed up and was like, hey, she deserves a second chance. I still love her. And when she was in court, she mouthed to him, I love you. And I'm just like, you got a weird kind of way of loving me because you screwed him in public. That's why they had 6 months in jail. In public, getting it on, butt naked, another man that's not your husband, but you love your husband. That's what I'm saying. We have a twisted way now of thinking, that's okay. She wanted to get her freak on. She'll be blessed. Like, we're just doing whatever the hell we want. We have a teacher recently. I'm going to wrap this up soon. The female teachers have gone completely crazy. For one, they know they're not going to get a lot of time. Might get 5 years, slap on the wrist. Male teachers, 30 years. 30 years of life, actually. Two female teachers. One was like 20 years old, and the other one was like in her 30s. And she's been a teacher for the last 10 years. And the girl who was the other teacher also went to that school, which means she was a student at the school when the 30-year-old was teaching. And then they both got themselves a 17-year-old boy and had a threesome. Let's get that in. let's go ahead and think about that now. That's like some real pedophile stuff right there. Like, you know what? When you turn 18, then, you're going to get a degree or whatever. Then you're going to come and be an assistant teacher. I think she was actually a teacher. She went to college and came back. Said, I'm going to teach at the same school where I went to, which teachers do. And then she seen one of her old teachers, and then, they became buddies. And then they said, you know what? That 17-year-old boy right there, we're going to take him home, which is what they did several times. And this is just a slap on the wrist. They might do a year or two, whatever, slap on the wrist. Our relationship with God is being demeaned on every level. We just don't care. We don't want to talk about God in court. People don't even want to talk about God in church. They want to talk about money. And I'm just wondering when our catastrophe is going to happen. Because the further we get away from God, the closer we get to where God's just going to say, I had enough. And when he does, it's all going to go boom. It's going to be like Pompeii. If you don't know what happened to Pompeii, it was called Mount Vesuvius. And am I saying that's because they were adulterous and murderous, which they were, very lustful and, so on and so forth? I don't know. I'm saying that that's what happened to them, though, if you look at history. And, or Moses and, Moses and Aaron, when Moses went up into the mountains, yada, 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 the people rebelled, 250,000 of them died instantly, fell into the ground opened up and they fell into the ground, or snakes came and bit them because they grumbled against God. I'm saying we need to really be careful of what we're doing. It's your boy Tone 202. Peace.